Hi guys, welcome to the weekly live stream. We have PapiMento with us, we have EyeJax with us, and of course, all the way from Dubai, we have Kabir. Welcome, buddy. How are you?
All good, man. Pleasure to be with you guys as per usual. Thank you for
Glad
having
to
me
have
on board.
you. Glad to have you, man. And listen, I want to be okay. I'm going to be very direct right now before we start. I was thinking like this has been very struggling season so far. People have been blaming Schroeder. Now we're blaming a little bit also Heitinga, and we're blaming also Van der Sar. But nobody's blaming you, man. You left to Dubai and things went sideways. It's
Bro,
all shit.
I'll tell you what it is. The moment I told Martinez that I'm leaving for Dubai, he's like, he's not going to find a cook as good as me. He has to go to Manchester. I'm sorry, man. I'm really sorry, Ajax fans. Please forgive me.
So when are you coming back then?
I'm coming back for the preseason, actually. I'll be there end of July, early August. So I'm going to be there. If the players want to make use of my services, I can cook up that good. They can get fit for the season. Give them that protein, all they need, and they're ready to go, man.
All right, that's good. That's good. So, okay. So we're hopeful for next season then.
We live in hope, right? We live in hope.
Of course. Good to have you, Kabir. We have some topics to discuss. EyeJax, listen, bro. I felt sorry, man, looking at the game talk last time against Groningen. Are you okay? People are asking me, are you okay? Are you doing okay? Because you were so high a couple of weeks ago, and now you're like all the way down. So what's going on, man?
Nothing is going on. It's just Ajax. So, Ajax is not playing well, and it keeps me, a little bit down at the moment. I'm in a shit mood. It's a shit performance week after week. And it's difficult to motivate yourself to watch those last few matches because like I said in the game talk, I'm drained and I cannot wait to the season to be over and have a fresh start next season, hopefully with a lot more potential within the team and something to look out for because you can only salvage the third place now. There's nothing to win anymore. So it's just sad, man.
Still important though.
It's important, yes.
Yeah. Thanks, EyeJax. Papi, you're smiling. That's good to see. It's always, we don't know what kind of PapiMento we expect, to show up. So what kind of PapiMento do we have tonight?
2 more games till the end of the season. I'm happy, bro.
Same as EyeJax. All right.
Yeah. This end of the we've seen so many bad games. I've seen enough bad games in this season to call it a lifetime, so we can go back to our winning ways because I cannot handle another season like this, to be honest.
Yeah. The good thing is that tomorrow officially Mislintat will start full time. So he has a lot of things to do. We will not touch upon Sven today. We have other stuff to talk about. But there is hope. Like Kabir said, a lot of hopeful things coming up. So let's hope for better times. Let me go quickly on the comments for the ones that have already joined. Must play is saying hi, welcome. Hopefully Van der Sar leaves. Okay. So we're not starting slowly. It's a statement already. Keith, all the way from Hong Kong, 2 a.m. local time. Wow, man.
Wow.
Thanks for joining in and tuning in. And Alex has a question for you, Kabir, already. When is he returning, man?
You know what? He's actually going to fly across here so I can just, make sure that I can look after him a little bit. But no, he's out for the rest of the season, unfortunately, Alex, man. It's not looking good. He's done. His season is over.
Not even with your superfood, man. Can you not nurture him back to health?
Bro, those Argentinian steaks, man. I told him he has to ease off on that,
man. Also greetings back to Murder Inc. Welcome, guys. Listen, just quickly on the Groningen game. What happened on Sunday? Unfortunately, it had to be played again on Tuesday. I don't want to focus too much on what happened around, why we had to play again. I think we already covered that during the game talk. But just quickly on the key takeaways of our game while playing against Groningen on Tuesday. Papi, let me go with you. It wasn't the best showings. I'm being very mildly right now. But what are the things that we should really focus on going into the Utrecht game and also the final game against Twente? So what are the key takeaways for you I will also ask Kabir and Isaac the same question before we touch upon other topics tonight.
The amount of chances we create and don't finish. Like I thought in the first 30 minutes against Groningen, we were really dominant and we were the much better team. And we created a lot of chances, but we just failed to score and failed to show the better side in numbers, So we stay only on 1-0, and then you see like it can go either way. You can get that counter goal against conceding, and it happened twice. So yeah, defensively we're not looking good, but it's not only the defense. When I say defensively, I'm looking at the whole team. Our team is too spread out. There's too much gap between midfield and defense and midfield and attack. When we're attacking, I don't see the back line moving up the way I would like to, making the field small as possible. I think for that 30 minutes, I think Ajax can look back and say, okay, we played pretty good, but the rest of the game and how a team that's already relegated just made it hard for us says a lot about this team and what we have been seeing this season. So I wasn't very happy about it. I'm happy we got the points. And to be honest, as I said, I just hope we get also the points against Utrecht. But against every team with this squad and the amount of chances we squander, the little goals we make, it's going to be hard against Twente and against Utrecht.
Yeah. All right. There are good points. Kabir, maybe you want to add to that, and I also want to drop you another question, which is a little bit related to what PapiMento is saying. Is this quality? Is this really quality? Should we not expect more going into the end of the season, or is it confidence level, or is it just too many things have happened this season? We just have to make it to the finish line and just secure the third place, like EyeJax said earlier. How do you see it?
I think it's a combination of all of what you've said. I think that, at the end of the day, they're human beings. They know that the club, there's been a lot of disruption at the club. A new trainer came in, the trainer got sacked. There's always constantly been issues with the board. There was the whole Daily Blind thing. There were like key Ajax people that left the sort of management and all those sort of things. So it's had an impact. So I think that that's obviously played a part. Obviously, we have a lesser quality squad than we have had in the past few years. So that's also an issue for sure. But I think also, like I said, there's not, like EyeJax mentioned, there's nothing to play for. This is probably the worst period to be in as a footballer, right? Like you're playing, last couple of games of the season, your bitter rivals have won the league. Your other rivals have beaten you in the cup final. For them, how can you take any motivation out of these games? So look, the key takeaway is the 3 points. Whatever happens, whether it's ugly, beautiful, or whatever, you just have to get the 3 points, which they did. I think another key takeaway is, it might be a slim takeaway, but Robbie scored again after, I think, since February. So that's something as a slight positive. I think maybe one or two players had a decent game. But yeah, overall, it was a shoddy performance. And PapiMento, like you said, if a team that's been relegated and is as poor as Groningen has actually made life tough for us, that says a hell of a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. EyeJax, you already said a lot about that game on Tuesday.
I'm not going to repeat it either.
You're not going to repeat it. So you want me to skip this question? Just move to the next topic?
No, I can touch upon it briefly for you if you want. But sure. I had the pleasure. It was so nice, watching all those weeks of Ajax. And I had the pleasure to do 2 game talks this week. First with Sahbi about the postponed match, and then with Papi on Tuesday the actual match. So that was so nice to do, especially
Lucky
if you're
you.
tired,
Lucky you.
No, but I said it all in the game talk. We're just shit, man. And if this team cannot impose themselves and the way they football on this opponent, that is in 17th place with only 18 points, is already relegated, and you have a narrow win of 3-2 in the end, or 2-3 because we played away, it's just shit. And it looks like this team is mentally injured. And that's the problem, There should be enough individual quality, but mentally, there's fundamentally... Hey, that's nice. Mentally, there's fundamentally something wrong. it keeps baffling me week in, week out that we have these problems during these games. And it's painful to watch, man, especially against a team that is already going to the second league. Yeah, it's painful.
EyeJax, just a question on what you said.
Yeah.
Like you said, we have enough quality to win this league, right?
Yeah.
That's basically what you say. But if you look at the back line, how can you really say that?
Yeah, I understand. I understand what you're saying, but still, even with these players that we have, and it's not even balanced, if we had a good coach from the get-go, and we should have better motivated players so that they have a certain standard each game that they go in with and fight till the hardest they can, like an Alvarez always does, like Martinez last season did, with Tagliafico, that Grinta. You should have enough quality to win this league. Because don't let the outcome of the league fool you. Feyenoord didn't lose a lot. I believe only one match. They did very properly this season, but they have a good coach. But also they have not been peachy. They've had a lot of lucky games also that just have that championship luck, in the end going their way. And of course they had a streak in which they did very well. But also PSV have not been peachy. So if it would have been a little bit better, can you imagine that stretch of games of Schreuder that we won not in 8 games? We didn't won 1 game. And it wasn't even against a lot of tough opponents. Just calculate those points. If you win the normal games that you should expect this team to win, I'm not talking about the top teams because we lost them all. But if you calculate how many points we lost against lower tier teams besides those top duels, we would have been still in the first place if you just won those. So that says enough about the league and about the quality. And if we had a great coach from the beginning, I think things would have been differently for us this season, even with this imbalanced squad.
You guys agree?
Even with Heitinga.
Sorry?
With Heitinga.
I cannot touch upon that because I think it's too short for him and his career to dub him a good manager yet. It's maybe potentially a good manager, but he has not enough time in front of a first team group to dub him a good manager. But if you have had a good manager from the beginning, for example, a boss or whatever, I would have been positive that we would have been in first place right now, even with this squad.
Yeah, with Boss, I think certain players would not even have been bought, to be honest. But
Exactly.
That's
because if Schreuder didn't come in, Bessie wouldn't have come in also because it was out of his head. So that says enough.
I think the point that you're making is relevant, EyeJax, because I think the role of a manager, as we see in football teams, successful football teams, is very important. Now, you look at the players that Feyenoord have. Man for man, they're not as good as the players that we have, but they've won the league. And the main reason for that is Arne Slot. So if we had a good manager from the start, yeah, I agree. We wouldn't be languishing in third position. I can't remember the last time we finished third in the league.
I hate to say it, guys, but you guys are talking about Feyenoord like they don't have good players. Like Kokchu would dominate our midfield right now. So
but that's because Ajax haven't been functioning the whole season the way they should. But
But Papi, let's be bluntly honest here. Mm-hmm. Take a look at the squad of Feyenoord.
Yeah.
Which of these players, and I'm not saying there aren't quality players, but which of these players can you see make a transition to a top 5 team in the top 4 leagues?
But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that Geertruida or Hartman or all these backs that they have are much better than the backs we have. I'm saying that a Kokchu is a higher level midfielder than the midfielders we have.
No, I do not think that's even true. You know what it is?
Who's better than Kokchu in this team then?
Almost all our midfielders are better and potentially better than Kokchu.
We don't even have a catalyst like Kokchu.
Yeah, but you're looking at the current squad and how they performed. But potentially, even Taylor is a better footballer than Kokchu is. You know what I want to say? We drifted so far from our core values. And Feyenoord stayed true to their core values. Because what can you say about Feyenoord? Always, they fight hard. They give their all on the pitch. They have a certain mentality. That's what they are known for. Of course, in the past it was more than now because they are now playing more technical football also. But Ajax was the technical team and Feyenoord was always fighting hard team from the beginning, from this rivalry. if you have a good coach, if you have a good coach like Slot, and you stay true to your core values, nice things can happen. But the core values that we have as an Ajax, playing the passing play, playing with certain technique and certain quality, it isn't there this season. And on top of that, you have a shit coach.
But that's quality, right? So we're lacking quality. So certain players from Feyenoord would make it in this team, are better than what we have.
I'm not going to be dragged into this discussion, bro. I think I made myself. I think I made myself perfectly clear. If you see it the other way, that's fine, man.
All right, guys, just quickly, just a quick pause. Let me go to the comments. A lot of people reacting also and saying hi. Video Yo-Yo, thanks for tuning in. Rick from Australia, good morning, man. Thank you for watching. Also, Rick saying the problem, I say it every year, we win the league by beating the teams we should be beating. PSV and Feyenoord are only worth 6 points each. So that's to what I'm also saying as well. Yeah, exactly. Video Yo-Yo also saying that no way we're going to get 6 points against Utrecht and Twente. I'm sorry. Don't be. It's just what you feel, right? So you don't have to apologize for it. Don Q is saying, I agree with Poppy. Ajax is too biased in this one. So he's referring basically to the players of Feyenoord in contrast to the players that we have. So which one are better, etc. More specifically, I think you mentioned Kochu. So or Kuchu. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a matter.
Bless you, man.
Look, guys, it's a very interesting topic, right? And we've touched upon so many things this season. One of the things I think we maybe not really focused on enough, and that's basically what we're going to discuss right now, is we always talk about the build-up, right? The build-up play is not what it used to be. We lost a lot of key players at the back from last season. Kabir, I'm going with you with this one. So I know it's not very easy just to center on the midfield, right? But the reason why we're taking the midfield today is because we've seen, again, a change, in recent weeks. We're seeing now Bergwijn playing as a 10 and Tadic moving to the left wing position. And, like this season, we've seen Alvarez playing as a pivot, then going back. We've seen Taylor being used as a pivot to help with the build-up. Klaassen as a 10, sometimes going a little bit deeper. There's so many changes in the midfield, and I know you cannot only focus on the midfield and forget about who's playing at the back or who our right back, left back are. It's all connected. But just from your perspective, with the players that we have currently, what's the best midfield setup for you?
I would definitely have Alvarez in midfield. I wouldn't have him at centre back. I know that there's been a lot of movement. I just don't think that he has the ball playing ability that an Ajax centre back should have. So I think that's where the attack starts, right? We all know that. That's where your build-up play starts, from the back. So I wouldn't have him there. I would very much have him as, the defensive midfielder, the guy that breaks down the opposition attacks, because that's what he's best in, right? I really don't want to see him with the ball on his feet too much. He has improved in that aspect, because when he first joined, it was very much ball to the side, ball to the back, ball to the side, ball to the back. He has improved. I'm seeing a few more forward passes, so that's fine. But I still don't think he has the ball playing ability as a defender should have. So I would have him there in midfield as the defensive midfielder. I would always have a place for Kenneth Taylor as the sort of central midfielder, maybe from the left-hand side, because I think classic Ajax player, is able to sort of play through the lines. Technically very astute. I know he hasn't performed well this season, but that goes for pretty much every one of our players. But aside from form, I'm talking about ability and makeup. I would have that, and then I would have Berghuis as the number 10, because I think that's where he functions, the best in terms of his ability, and then obviously the attack is different. But that's how I would see the makeup of the team in my ideal midfield three.
All right. Just quickly, Video Yo-Yo saying didn't know we actually had the midfield.
That's also a very valid point.
Sarcasm helps sometimes, especially when we're going through this kind of season. But EyeJax, what's your view? Do you agree with Kabir, or do you have a slightly different opinion about the midfield?
Can you please, because I didn't remember all of them, can you please repeat your three?
Yeah, I would say Taylor. Yeah, Taylor. I would say Taylor. I would say Alvarez, and I would say Berghuis.
So Alvarez 6, Taylor 8, Berghuis 10.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think we can still choose Alvarez because he will be gone next season probably. So is that part of the question, or do you want us
the question is more the midfield. What would be the best midfield going into the next 2 games? So they would
next 2 games? Yeah, okay, yeah, then I agree. Well, it's difficult, man.
That's why we're talking about it.
Yeah, yeah.
You want to hear mine first?
Yeah, go ahead,
Should
man.
I go first?
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, it would be Edson as CDM, but I disagree with the Taylor because I didn't see much of Taylor this season. I thought Berghuis had a fantastic first half of the season, actually, and hit a very high level. Second half of the season, less. So I would put Berghuis as an 8, but for me, number 10 would be Kudus. Yeah. And I would play Conceição on the right wing because I think we can get much more out of counter attacks with this team, with the Kudus on the 10 position, and having Bergwijn and Brobbey next to him. So for me, I would do that. It's not the best footballing midfield, but we also don't have a very good footballing team. So you have to find other ways to get your goals, I would say.
But why would you, just a question, PapiMento, why would you, towards the end of the season, Kudus has barely played with Heitinga being the coach as a number 10. Why would you now...
Actually, in the beginning, because when I see our coach saying Bergwijn is versatile and he can play the 10, I get cringy, man. I'm like, dude, you have Kudus. Kudus is a much better 10 and much more versatile and better on the ball than Bergwijn will ever be. So how can you say that? So for me, Kudus is the real 10. It opens up a spot for Conceição, which he brings much more technique and threat on the wing than Kudus, I think. Kudus is just a different kind of player. So I think we would be more difficult to defend in that way. And that's why I would choose it this way.
Yeah, let me be the devil's advocate again. I'm sorry for that. But there is a reason, I think, why Heitinga didn't choose Kudus in the center of the pitch and he keeps him at the side. And that has to do with...
Tadic has to play.
Well, that was not what I was going for, but maybe that's also an argument. No, I was more referring to the fact, like, look, you guys saw the Groningen game, and he was not the only one. So I'm not picking on Kudus, but his defensive contribution was non-existent. And you cannot put a player like that in the center of the pitch. At least Bergwijn, he doesn't do everything well, but he ran his socks off. He went up and down. Even Heitinga admitted that he was doing his defensive duties. Kudus, you cannot put him as a 10 and only think, hey, we're going to have the ball all the time, and that would be nice. Yeah, I agree, but that's not the way we're playing right now. We have to do defensive tasks.
First of all, when Heitinga started, it was constantly Klaas on 10, and Kudus would finish the game, and then Conceição would come in, and Kudus would go to the 10 position. So he tried it multiple times already. Okay, yeah. So it's not something new. And to be honest, to say that Bergwijn is versatile, who gives a shit that he runs a lot? If he's not touching the ball the right way, and you're losing the ball in critical positions, then what's the point of having such a guy on the 10 position? You can work your ass off, but we want to see technical capabilities on that 10 position. We want to see somebody that can accelerate the play and move past the defender. We just don't want to see a guy that just holds the ball and runs and passes back and then runs and then does nothing actually with the ball, just running and working hard. That's not a number 10 role for me at Ajax.
I must say, Juan, I've never been more proud at my boy Papi than just now, man, because I fully agree with his.
That's why. That's why you're proud of him.
Because no, not because
it's a good point, because I agree with him.
Not that he doesn't say his logical stuff, but usually I have sometimes like not so fully agreeing with him, but I think it's spot on. You know, and you can say that's not the way we're playing when you're playing your devil's advocate role, but we're playing shit the whole season. So maybe we should try to think a little bit more outside of the box, or it isn't even outside of the box because Kudus is a natural 10 and Chico is a natural right winger. So just play them on their positions. And to touch upon a little bit more what Papi is saying, for me, why I like this midfield and formation is because we miss a lot of depth in our play and some threat from individual quality. One would expect Bergwijn to fill in that role, at least, because this was one of his qualities, why we attracted him to be an Ajax player, you know, why we signed him. But Chico always tries hard and just goes for that one-on-one duel, tries to surpass the direct opponent, and he doesn't give a shit if he fails a few times. And this is something that we lack in the current squad. And I cannot understand, and this is what I said a few streams earlier already, this is something I blame Heitinga for. I cannot understand why he got so few minutes last weeks, because we saw him play a game in Young Ajax. I believe it was Young Ajax, Young PSV. It was 5-4 or something, and he scored 2 beautiful goals, like coming from the side and just scorchers. And he didn't get any minutes, while others aren't being substituted.
Yeah,
so,
just the last game he was not available, right? So
okay, but the games before, But I'm liking the thing that the Papi is saying, and I would play with Hato and Timber in the back as central defenders, and just play with Wijndal on the left back position, because I think you should give him a stretch of games to try and improve himself, because I think there's still quality there, and it gives you a little bit more versatility up front with a static player like Tadic. But it's difficult because if you play with another back that isn't like very versatile, he can surpass Tadic on that left flank. So you have a little bit more depth in your game. This is what I would opt for. And I think, good job by Papi analyzing that.
All right. Not only EyeJax giving you compliments, Papi, also Video Yo-Yo saying, go Papi. Rita is even surprised. She said, Papi finally joined the EyeJax gang. Welcome. You can speak facts now. And all right. So yeah, people agreeing with you. Just one question on the Bergwijn to touch upon that. That's the latest change or, type of play that Heitinga has introduced. So Tadic is moving now a little bit to the left wing. Bergwijn is playing as a 10. Do you guys agree with that? Do you guys agree with this new, I don't know if we can call it experiment, but the new way of playing? Kabir, what do you think?
No, I mean, look, I think there's probably an element of him just trying things now. Nothing seems to have worked throughout the whole season. So, why not? What have we got to lose? So it's probably a little bit of experimentation with the future seasons in mind. But he's not a number 10, right? It's just, like PapiMento said, he's not like a number 10 Ajax player. So I don't see it. I don't think personally he's happy playing in the number 10 position. Maybe I think when Bergwijn was at Spurs, he might have played a few games at number 10. I think, if I'm not mistaken, because obviously they have like Harry Kane and Son there, so he wasn't getting much game time up front. So maybe, but for me, it doesn't work.
But he didn't win anything significantly there, right? At Spurs.
No, nothing.
No, cool.
Nothing whatsoever. But I mean, obviously, everyone still raves about those 2 goals he scored against Leicester City in the final minute or whatever. I think that was like his best ever. But yeah, it doesn't work for me at all. I think you have much better options in number 10. Kudus, yeah, of course. They're technically more gifted players. I'm not saying, yeah, definitely. Just
even Taylor would be a better option.
Something like that, technically more astute. I think Bergwijn's that kind of guy that just needs to be on the left and comes in and shoots in his right hand foot. I think that's the only thing he's gotten to his game, to be honest.
He's like a
player I've ever seen.
He's like a poor
man's Iron Robber.
Poor man's Iron Robber. I was going to say poor man's Thierry Henry, but
yeah,
maybe I shouldn't use him in the same breath as Henry. Sorry, my bad.
And also, by the way, we shouldn't blame Van der Sar on this target, right? Because
no, this was actually something that
from Overmars time already.
Overmars and Ten Hag wanted him from 2 years ago.
Yeah, but there's a difference between wanting a player and how much you pay for a player.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
you cannot blame Van der Sar maybe because he was on the list. I would agree to that. But do you think Overmars would have gone 30 plus for Bergwijn?
If you want to buy a player from the Premier League, that's the kind of prices you go for.
I think he would have.
But then no, I don't agree, because then I think we could have signed him earlier in the January window, because we were also looking for him. But Overmars didn't want to go that far.
But it was because he was being held back by, I believe, Susanne Lendring. So he had some people on his back that he could not afford to pay that much, if I recall correctly. So
All right.
Also, Overmars has some limitations in what he can and cannot do. It's not that he
So you're
didn't want
saying-
to do it.
So you're saying there's no difference. If Overmars was still there, he would have still bought that one.
I see Overmars as a guy that goes for his goals. You know, that he has certain targets and tries to how do you realize them. And I think if Bergwijn was a long-term target for him and he would have had the opportunity to sign him, a few more millions wouldn't kept him away.
Okay,
That's my
interesting.
honest opinion.
Interesting. Coming back to the midfield, guys. Question from Jan Dufek. Welcome to the stream. Am I too biased or blind to some crucial issues if I think that there's a place for Grealish still in the midfield? Nobody's mentioning him. And also, just to add to that, you guys can react. Nobody mentioned Klaassen. And I know Klaassen has not been very good this season, but Klaassen is not very much used as a number 10. And he's probably the most natural number 10 that we have. Of all
Yeah,
the
but it's a type of number 10, huh? He's a running.
specific. Yeah, specifically.
And it depends what type of style you want to play on that given day. If you want to amend yourself to the opposition to a certain extent, he's a runner, basically. But he's not a technical number 10. He's not going to ghost past players. He's not going to provide that through ball. He's just going to run into space and try and catch a second ball and score a goal.
One of the things, Kabir, because I do pay attention to what you guys are saying, or I try to at least, look, he's very specific 10, but one of the strength of Klaassen is like Ajax always use this word, the fox in the box, right? So when he comes in, he doesn't need a lot of chances, and that was one of the also critical points of PapiMento. We miss a lot of chances, and we let the team come back in the game. If Klaassen get those chances, there's a higher chance.
But Juan, what you're missing here is that Klaassen is only useful when you have a team that works. When you have crosses coming in, when you have a build-up play, when he can stay far away from the goal, from the ball. But what's happening now is he's on the midfield, and they're finding him also to help with the build-up. But it goes fully wrong because he's not that type of player.
True, but that's because Klaassen has been playing deeper. He's getting a deeper role with EyeJax. But now with Wijndal, for instance, Wijndal is giving those crosses. He is overlapping, but Klaassen is not there to come in. He's not in that role. Now you have Bergwijn.
I think we've seen enough from Klaassen to see that he can be important for 1 or 2 moments, and then the rest of the game he's turned off. So I think that's too little to be a starter number 10 at Ajax, which in my view is one of the most crucial positions at Ajax.
All right. Kabir, what about you? Klaassen, but also touching upon the question from Jan. Grealish, what's your point of view?
No, I think Grealish, I was actually, again, someone that I'd be honest with you, hadn't really heard much of before he joined us. But when I saw him play, I thought, okay, cool. You know what? There's a bit about him, good on the ball, has the ability to sort of build up, very comfortable, technically very astute. I don't think that he's been used enough. I must say that probably in the instances where he has started in the 11, he hasn't really fully impressed me, but that's also not his fault, right? I think it'd be very difficult for any player to come into this Ajax that we've had this season and do well, really, because you need to have a functioning team around you, right? He's not a Messi, he's not a Ronaldo. Not everyone can carry a team. So I want to reserve judgment on him. I think that there is potential with him. I think we should keep him on. I don't know what his contract status is. I think that there is an option to extend maybe.
2 more years. 2 more years.
2 more years, right? Yeah. And he himself actually said in an interview about a month ago, he goes, I would really like to continue on my career here.
Yeah, he wants to be a regular player.
Exactly.
He wants to be a regular player.
Caveat. Yeah, there's a caveat to that. He wants to play more.
He wants to play
and
more.
one more thing. If EyeJax is choosing Taylor sooner as a number 6 than Grealish, then that says enough about his capabilities, no?
Sure, exactly. So that's the point I was trying to make. I think he has the potential, but I don't think he's been up to scratch. But can you, form a judgment on anyone that's come in sporadic periods that he's had to show his worth? Especially this year in Ajax. And like you said about Klaassen is the kind of guy that can function if the rest of the team is functioning. And Klaassen's been with the club pretty much his whole career, save for a few years abroad. So how can you expect someone like Grealish to come in a midfield position and do well, or we can judge on him when no one else is performing around him, right?
You know why? Because when he came in, a lot of people were saying he's good with the ball. He can break the lines. He's good with his passing. So
Yeah.
I expected a CDM that would immediately take the CDM role because he's so good on the ball. But when I saw the difference between him and Alvarez, I was like, okay, defensively, Alvarez is better. On the ball, I would say they're similar. I didn't see any extras from Grealish to give me another conclusion that he's better on the ball than Hudson Alvarez at the moment.
But do you think
just a nuance there from PapiMento, of course. It's from what he's seen, right? He's not saying that people
No,
have
of
to
course.
think like he's saying Alvarez is as good on the ball as Grealish. He's saying from what I've seen, I don't
Of
see
course.
a big difference between the
But
two.
the thing is, do you think that we can form a judgment over someone only once we've seen them maybe play an elongated period of time? Like, I think it's unfair personally for any player. If they play one game and they
But
don't.
he is an experienced player. He is not a young player anymore, Kabir.
That's the
my
thing,
point.
Kabir. That's the thing. You know, I agree with you, but there is a difference here. There is a reason why Ajax got him, signed him, and gave him a 1-year contract
Yeah.
with an option for 2 more years because they want to see if he has the goods, right? If he can make an impact in that team. That's a different role when you sign a player, a young player that just has to find the scooting.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. No, look, personally, I think if you're asking me on the basis of what we've seen from him this season, would I, if I was in the Ajax, if I was to make the decision, would I want to extend the contract? I'd say no. No, I wouldn't. But I'm still a little bit in the camp of, well, look, you know, have we really seen the full potential? Or maybe Ajax is just not his level. You know, maybe he's just a good mid-table Bundesliga player. But
Or maybe the style doesn't suit him, or maybe, like you said, the players around him, it doesn't gel.
It hasn't helped.
Exactly.
The circumstances haven't helped him, right? The circumstances haven't helped Abassi. I'm not saying that these guys are ultimately good signings or, you know, they're going to have futures at Ajax, but it's difficult to, you know, there is also an element of they've joined an Ajax side that has been the worst in maybe 4, 5, 6 years.
Yeah.
You know,
We don't buy these kind of players for them to get used to our system. There should be a certain quality that's standard already.
there should be a
within
certain
these
base
players,
quality,
no?
for sure. There should be a certain base quality.
Yeah.
I agree.
Before I go to the comments, guys, just quickly, you know, now that we're talking, you know, about the midfield, but also, you know, the different positions and the different flavors that we can use for different positions. You can also look at, you know, there have been so many changes. Schroeder have tried a couple of things. Heidegger actually, and that's where I'm going with EyeJax. I want to ask you this question. I remember when Heidegger took over, he said, one of the things that I want is go to a more, you know, like sustainable and fixed 11. You know, like not too many changes. I want like this team to play week in, week out with the same players on the same positions. But now in recent weeks, you're seeing also for him, taking out the injuries, of course, you know, because that's something he cannot control. But even without that, you're seeing him shifting a lot as well. What's your opinion about that?
I don't know, man. You should ask Sean Heitinga. I don't know why he's shifting around. And
Okay, but I'm asking you this question. If he's saying he wants this and he's doing something else, why is that in your opinion?
Maybe he changed his mind. Maybe there's fatigue within the group. Maybe he's also seeing that this group of players is shit. Yeah, it's not. It doesn't be. You don't have to be a genius to draw certain conclusions, you know. And maybe he's trying something else because he's hoping for a spark that maybe can spark the other players within the team to perform better. I don't know, but those are some logical reasons that could be behind his decision. But I think it's good that he tries to alter it a little bit because the results have been shitty. We didn't win a big game besides the semifinal in the cup, you know. So yeah, it would be weird if a coach sees the team playing shit and just continue playing it all the time. So he didn't change that much, I believe, those first 8 games, and there were a lot of wins. Then the results were going down and the changing started. So that says enough, I think. He will not change it if the coach is winning with that team, but he will try to alter it if he sees that the results aren't there.
I want to add something to the mix as well. This is something that you hear a lot from a lot of critics or Ajax fans. How much of Dusan has to play? Is this affecting the team as well? That you have to shift around, because that we saw that with Schroeder. We're seeing that a little bit with Heitinga, or is this a little bit an easy scapegoat argument in your opinion?
Yeah, he's your captain. No good comes out of it sacrificing your captain this far in the season. If you want to have an alternative role for him, do it the next season. Not going to pass a player now with his stature, with what he's done for Ajax. He's a legend already for the club. I understand the sentiment, because he's been playing awful, especially last weeks. And the last game was the first game again that he produced some stats. I'm saying stats because it wasn't all peachy also during that game. So, but it's too easy to scapegoat him, because we have much more problems that go way deeper within this team than only Dusan Tadic getting older and not being on his top level anymore. So yeah, I will not get on that boat, and criticize him like that, because he has done too much for Ajax, in my opinion. And we should really think hard what to do next season, and if there's another role for him within the team that maybe is less dominant than it is now, minutes-wise.
All right, Kabir.
The only thing
just quickly, Papi. I will go to you in a bit. Just Kabir, giving him a moment to react as well on this one.
No, I think it's a tough one. I think that it is I've been hearing this for months, maybe even a year or so now. Tadic is this, Tadic is that. It's such an easy scapegoat. What the guy has given us as a club, he was part of that whole renaissance past 2-3 years under Erik ten Hag, key player. The guy always gives. And what's this talk about him getting old? He's probably one of the fittest guys, not just at Ajax, but in the league. Like he's an actual model professional, man. Like the way he lives for the sport, the way he, I still think that, if Tadic wasn't in this team right now, that we would have finished maybe 10th. I tell you, that guy has still got, is holding it together as much as he can. Of course, he's getting older, and maybe he's not as dynamic. Maybe he's not scoring as many goals and whatnot. But the effect that he has within the team, the squad, I have no doubt. No one's come out. A lot of analysts are saying, if you don't substitute Tadic, that goes through into the players group, and the players group started to speak about. No one's come out or said anything like that. In fact, whenever asked about Tadic, okay, maybe players wouldn't readily come out with stuff like that, but they're always speaking very positively about him, how he's always there to make sure everyone is comfortable. He's always the first person people go to when they have problems. Tadic is a case of you don't know what you have until it's gone. When Tadic leaves the club, the same people that are saying, oh man, he's too old, he needs to be they're going to be like, shit, excuse my language, but shit, if only we had Tadic back. I agree with that.
To add to this, I partly agree with him on this, because I think it's a good analysis. But you do see, although he's fit, you do see that he's declining, because in the past you could see on that left wing position that he still had his tricks to surpass his direct opponent and give more crosses. But nowadays it started to look more like he's wrestling with them, and there's an outcome in which he surpasses them and give the cross. So I see decline in that play, that facet of his play. So yes, he's fit and he's strong, but he's declining in that area. I do agree with Kabir. Do agree with Kabir that, and that's why I'm not jumping on that boat by criticizing him and scapegoating him. He's been loyal to our team for many, many years. He has done a lot for Ajax. We can conclude that this team, there's fundamentally many things that are wrong within this team on several positions. And Tadic is not in my top 3, top 4, maybe top 5 positions and players that I would like to scapegoat for that. So we should, as fans, also stay loyal to him a bit, because he still produces this season. Yes, he has shit games, but he's still your captain. And just look at it next season, how you want to do it. And not now at the end of the season starting to scapegoat your captain that has been there all along, that's been there when we had success. So now we have to stick with him a bit also when it's not going that well. And I'm not saying he's not declining, because he is. But look at it next season.
Yeah. Just quickly, Papi, before you can go and talk about this as well. It's taking a bit longer. Sorry for that, bro. You know what's funny? I was also watching the Groningen game, and especially in the beginning, at the start of the first half, the first 10, 20, 30 minutes, every chance almost that was created, all the important chances were created through the left side. Tadic was instrumental in creating opportunities, and we could have scored a lot of goals through the left side. Also with the overlap of Wijndal, etc. So attacking-wise, Tadic is very crucial. And I'm wondering whether this is an instruction, a tactical play that they have to go to Tadic a lot, or whether Tadic is this good that the players feel comfortable giving him the ball because they know he will create something. What's your view on that, Papi?
I thought Tadic played a decent game against Groningen, but we've seen a lot of crappy games from him. I think he is in the decline, even though we love Tadic and everything he brought for us. I think there's an emotion there that keeps him within the pitch. I wouldn't mind him having a rotation role within the team and coming off the bench, like, Jordan Henderson does for Liverpool, or Milner. They don't play every game, but they come in and they're the captain. That's okay with me. But I'm just looking at the positions, and I'm looking at the youth coming up. And I'm like, am I really going to give Tadic at 35 years old, which I'm seeing declining, not playing the Tadic we want? Am I going to put him on the left wing next year? No. Am I going to put him striker? No. Do I see him as a 10? No. So tell me, where do you see him? Of course, we shouldn't. But I do think that if we go for younger, better players, we can get more out of the positions we're talking about. And Tadic is very important with his stats, but even he was sucky in the Champions League. And that's the level we should be attaining for, not only winning in the eredivisie against freaking Groningen.
But that's what we're saying, right? Because we're saying we have to reevaluate it next season. But scapegoating him now in those last matches,
that's not my point.
Season,
I'm not scapegoating him, EyeJax. My point is more, he's 35 years old. He has to play everything. But what about the youngsters that have to get those minutes, that are not getting those minutes to develop? We have Guts coming up. We have, other players coming up that from the youth that are not even getting the chance in this team while it's struggling. So,
okay, guys, I have to go through the comments, especially about this topic. A lot of people reacting as well. So let me just share. Murder Inc. Bro, come on. So talk about Tadic. So he helped us before. So if he plays the S word, I cannot pronounce it because Jim Goes Fishing has children. So he's listening to us and he has children running around. We can talk about that. Most ball losses starts from him. Let's be honest. Yeah, that's one. I mean, we touched upon that as well. So that's true. Video Yo-Yo is saying, all true, Tadic is a legend, but he really has become slower. That's just natural. He should still have a role, but he should make way for further developments within the squad, which is what PapiMento was saying as well.
That's what we were saying also, but next season. So
true.
It's the same page.
Yeah, all right, same page. Jim Goes Fishing. So, Kabir, no more S words, please.
All right, man. I did apologize immediately afterwards. Sorry, Jim Goes Fishing. I hope fishing's going well. Are you fishing right now or what?
All right, guys. Gary, welcome. For me, we've lost our identity and we lack leaders. We can't rely just on Tadic. Last few years, we've had players with real personality like De Ligt, Frenkie, Blind, and Gravenberg. We've lost that. Yeah, so we touched upon that, right? The team lacks much more than just one player, one position, these kind of things. We basically.
And if we're looking at personality, he's missing Licha and Taifiko because those are important.
He was giving some names as examples, of course. Yeah. Those as well. Yeah. All right. So guys, let's move away from the topic. We talked about the midfield and the players, the team, etc. PapiMento already touched upon. There are new players coming up, especially on the left wing. So it's a nice bridge. Amoricho, news. He got a contract extension. He signed a new contract. Who saw that one coming? Honestly, raise your hand.
No, I didn't, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's nice bit of positive news.
Yeah. Look, so what PapiMento is saying, we have Gots for that position. Amoricho can play on the left wing in the future, of course. We don't know. He's been injured a lot, so he has to get ready for the first team. But these are good signs, right? I mean, we're seeing now things happening a little bit, even though we know that Sven will start officially tomorrow. But on the youth department, we're seeing things happening. And Regeer also is very heavily linked with Twente. So he might go to Twente. That's the rumors and the news going on right now. What do you guys think of the signing of Amoricio, but also maybe if Regeer goes to Twente, even though he hasn't really got a chance in the first team, Kabir?
No, I think, look, it's great news that we've, he signed a contract, or he signed an extension, the first contract, professional contract. I think that's great. Obviously, really disappointing also that Sontje Hansen left for NEC Nijmegen, which, I mean, like, that guy was also a massive talent in the academy. Ultimately didn't agree. So it's nice to see that some positive things are happening. Regeer, yeah, look, again, I think, a young guy needs to be playing, needs to be developing. And if he doesn't feel that he's going to get that at Ajax, then, who's to begrudge him a move to FC Twente? I think it's a good club for him. Would I want him to have stayed or to stay at the club? Of course, 100%. But, ultimately, the talents are having less patience now. They're probably also thinking that, if we're struggling to break into a very weak Ajax team, what are the chances in next season when there's going to be a big overhaul? And I'm assuming that there's going to be some big names or there's going to be a lot of recruitment. Is that going to impact my chances, right? So he's probably taking a bit more of a longer-term view for his career in that regard.
Yeah, EyeJax, happy with the news. Amoricio, and your quick view on the Regeer news. It's not official yet, but it seems like it's going to...
Is it for loan or permanent transfer, Regeer?
Probably permanent.
Okay, cool. Amoricio, great news. Finally, some sensible youngsters that just choose to remain in the club and fight for it. Regeer, yeah, it's okay if he leaves. It's okay if he stays. I'm not the biggest fan of Regeer, so I'm not seeing him being one of the top youth products that will do it for Ajax. To be honest, it's one of those products for me that will have a role maybe in the eredivisie or at a subpar club in another league, and will have the Ajax identity. And it's one of those guys that you produce, but he, in my opinion, is not good enough, if I'm being honest, for the first team squad. So yeah, I hope for him that it goes well at Twente. And
Juan,
quickly. Sorry, just for EyeJax this question, and Papi, you can react to that as well. If he leaves, right, and if you were let's say the technical director and you're negotiating the contract, you say, I don't see him really as a regular for Ajax. Would you still put in a clause to buy him back?
Why not?
If he does not? Okay.
Why not?
All right.
So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. And about what Kabir was saying with youth players not coming into that first squad, with this shit first squad that we have this season, and it's disheartening for them, and they maybe move abroad or go to another club. That says something about the talent and about the mentality and the motivation that the talent has also. Because if the squad is shit, I cannot say that word. If the squad is S, then the talent should have more motivation. Like, I believe in my own ability. I believe that I'm a good player. My direct competitors in that first team aren't that great as I value them as the player, then you should go extra hard and try to grab that chance and fight for it, But if you're already going abroad or to another team, in this situation, it says something about the players too.
Yeah, all right. Look,
may I just say something about Regeer?
Yes, and Jim goes fishing about Regeer, saying, on top of the buyback clause, percentage of the sale for the next transfer would be good as well. Makes sense, of course. Papi, go ahead. Sorry, man.
Yeah, I just want to have my facts correct. I think Regeer played a couple of times for Ajax on the right back position, but I think that's not the position he wants to play, right? He wants to play midfield, I think. And that's why he didn't get many more chances on the right back position. So if that's really the case of how I understand it, then I don't mind him leaving, because I was like, okay, on the midfield, he's not going to get a chance. But on the right back, if he was still open to that, I'm like, okay, why did you buy Sanchez? I think Regeer is as good.
All right, clear. But just a question for you. So you're saying basically that just like Ajax, here for you leaving, it's fine. Your point of view on Amoricho, you didn't say anything about that. So what's your view?
I think he's a wonderful talent. I just want to see his next steps. I want to see him play for young Ajax. Week in, week out. I miss him sometimes when we play. So and he has to be the top player in that team to really make the next step. I mean, Hato did make it. Let's be honest. In a shit team,
Yeah, but Hato,
he had enough quality.
Oh, we're using
to
that
come
word
up.
way too much.
but
We're
Hato,
using that word way too much.
Oh,
yeah, you
sorry.
guys are doing that on purpose. But anyways,
No,
Hato-
no. Seriously,
That's how much-
I'm not doing it on purpose.
Dude, if Ajax gave us joy, we wouldn't be using the S word.
That's true. That's true. Look,
I'm sorry.
Instead.
Yeah, but Hato is not a good example because Hato basically was too good, and he already made a couple of steps already because he was that good, so he can already go to the first team.
But he's 16, 17. That's what I mean. If your quality is there, you will make it to the Ajax 1. So
Yeah, but look, yeah, that's true. But Ten Hag, don't forget that Ten Hag also gave a chance to Amoricho already on the left wing position. But then he got a couple of injuries, and he's injury prone. So that's the thing. I think the biggest thing that will keep Amoricho held back for not progressing in the Ajax team, in my opinion. But again, we'll see how it goes. Guys, also something we have to talk about, which was announced today. Rita, thank you for watching and also throwing this in the comments. We wanted to talk about this, so it was already on the list. Stekelenburg, guys, retiring. He will say goodbye to the fans on Sunday. Quickly. What is the thing that like when you think of Maarten? What is the thing you think about, and how will you see his career looking back, Kabir?
Oh man, I just feel like a whole chapter has come to an end now. Like he's been there since what? Correct me if I'm wrong, but he made his debut in early 2000s, I think. And
True.
he was really 2002 or so, like he had a really he was Ajax #1, Oranje #1, played some big tournaments, played some big games for Ajax. Then obviously he went abroad, and it didn't work out. He had a few spells, I think, in Spain and in England as well. Just didn't work out for him, and then his career just came to a really sad end. And what a
he had also a lot of injuries throughout his career. So that's
a lot of
something.
injuries. But what a shit way for him to end his career. With probably the worst. He probably saw what happened this season and thought, you know what, I've had enough. And who's there to blame him?
You know what it is, Juan? The thing that comes to mind with me when I think about Stekelenburg, it's that save against Kaká in the Brazil
man.
game.
Yeah.
That is just a save that is like a memory, and it stays with you. He was so wonderful at that tournament, and his level of goalkeeping was so high, and such an important save in that game against a world-class player like Kaká. And this is just like he said, he's agreeing with me, Roy. Yeah, he was terrific.
Yeah,
he was terrific.
That softened the blow for me because I'm for Brazil, but because Stakey saved it, I didn't mind as much. But that was a wonderful save from Stekelenburg. I will never forget that save.
No, me neither.
Yeah. Do you guys feel like also apart from the injuries, he had a lot of weight on his shoulders because he came just right after Van der Sar, that era. So Van der
I
Sar,
thought he would be better than Van der Sar when he was young, to be honest.
Better?
I thought he was going to
maybe as a
I thought he was
manager.
going to reach that level.
yeah,
No,
reach it.
as a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Maybe as a
Yeah, that's what I'm
director,
saying.
Puppy. Maybe as a director.
No,
Touche,
that's easy.
touche, guys, touche. All right, we cannot. Come on, guys. We're not talking about Van der Sar. Let's leave Van der Sar alone for one stream, okay? Just
You're ready for your last question or what?
no, I'm not ready. Actually, I'm going through the comments right now. So Jingo's fishing. Stekelenburg could have done worse. It could have been Alfonso Alves when it comes to picking teams to transfer to.
Yeah, didn't he go to Middlesbrough?
Alfonso Alvarez, remember that game that he scored, what was it, 5 or 8 goals or something?
6 or 7, right?
7 or something? Yeah, sick.
He scored 36 league goals in that season or something.
Yeah.
But that game, that record.
7 goals or something. It was
7, right? I thought it was
8,
7.
I don't know.
Maybe I forgot. All right. So coming to the last topic. Yes, Ajax. That's going to be our last topic. I feel like there have been news about Edson Alvarez. We know he's going to leave this summer, right? But now he's being much more linked with Germany. Bayern Munich is looking at him, but more so Dortmund is really looking at him. Do you guys feel like Dortmund or maybe Bayern will be a good step for him? Because he's been linked previously also with Premier League clubs. What do you think would be his best choice when he leaves Ajax? What's the best thing he can do? Go to the Bundesliga, to one of those teams, or maybe just go, across the pond, just go to the UK? Kabir, what's your point of view on this one?
I think it's probably obvious to say the way he plays, his style of play, he would suit the Premier League. Just because it's obviously probably the most physical league in the world. Maybe the second most, probably the Championship's the most physical. But, the style of play, I can see him fitting into the Premier League. But I think, technically good enough. Maybe that doesn't matter depending on which team he joins in the Premier League. But I also think he's heavily linked to Borussia Dortmund. I can see him doing a job in Germany as well. It's obviously a much quicker league. It's a much tougher league than the eredivisie. So look, if he moves to the Premier League, I think great. Again, it's probably a little bit dependent on what type of team he moves to. But also it would be a very good move. Less so Bayern Munich, to be honest. But yeah, Dortmund, I can see, sure, why not? It would be a good signing. I just think he would struggle at a Bayern Munich, to be honest.
Okay. EyeJax?
Yeah, if I'm being honest, Edson has written Italy all over him. It's Italy for me. If I look at this type of play and the teams that are playing in that league and the way they play football in Italy, I think he would be a great fit for one of the better teams in that league, because his style of play would suit that league very well. And in the Premier League, I think he's just not good enough to play at the top team, if I'm being really honest, because I think his passing ability and his technical ability aren't good enough to play in the midfield in England at a top team. Maybe at a lower team that defends more, he would be more suited. But you have to be more of a complete footballer in England at the midfield. And for Germany, yeah, maybe at Dortmund, I agree with Kabir. I'm not seeing him play at Bayern Munich, to be honest, because Bayern Munich is that kind of team that plays the same way as English teams can play, like good football, total football, technical football with a lot of passing ability there. And I'm not seeing Edson being of that standard, although I love the guy, to play that kind of style.
Yeah. Papi, what's your opinion? Do you agree with EyeJax? Do you agree with Kabir? Do you have a different opinion about Alvarez's next move?
Yeah, look, for me, Bayern is off the table because I'm actually hating Bayern at the moment, buying Ajax players and putting them on the bench. So for
Everybody's
me,
buying Ajax players,
no, not putting them on the bench. At
Except
least
next season, nobody's buying
players,
anything next season.
Yeah. But let's say, so Dortmund, I think Dortmund is a beautiful club. I think he would work well in the Bundesliga, to be honest. Serie A is a league I see him playing. I would love to see him actually at AC Milan or something like that. But I even see him play in La Liga, mid-table team, a Valencia, a Sevilla, something like that. I also see him working well in such a team.
I believe Roy said he's the ultimate Atletico player, but Premier League for physicality, I guess. Honestly,
I don't disagree with the Premier League, though.
You don't agree or disagree?
I don't agree with the Premier League. I think
Why?
That's not his natural style of play, that kind of up and down game.
The thing for me, I do agree with you that I think he will struggle in the Premier League, but the reason for that being because of the speed, I think he doesn't have the speed to go up and down like that, like what you're saying. If you compare him to other typical players in the Premier League that are playing right now in his position, like if we look at Caicedo, Doucouré, Party, these kind of players, these are Casemiro, these players, they're better. They're quicker, they're faster. So I think he will struggle on the speed of play, and I think if he goes to the Bundesliga or even slower to the Serie A, like EyeJax said, I fully agree. That would be much more fitting. But yeah, let's be honest, guys. Most of the people want to go to the Premier League because of the because of the money. So
Doesn't matter. If he wants to go there, he can go there. It's up to
Of
him,
course.
If he wants to go to Bayern or Dortmund, fair play, go there. But the question is to us all and to yourself, what do we think that suits him best? If he
exactly.
wants to go for the money, go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, that's it. That's the wrap. I think one of the shortest live streams we've had in recent weeks. So thank you all for joining. Thank you all also for the discussion. We really appreciate it. It's been a very long season. It's been also difficult for us. I imagine also for you guys. We'll be back next week with another live stream. Tomorrow, Sven will start. That's good news. So there's hope. Like Kabir said, there is hope, guys. Just don't lose it. All right. See you next time. Bye, guys.
All right. Peace out, guys.